From our studios in Scottsdale, Arizona, this is Retirement News Online. And as America's workforce grows older and arguably grumpier, and defined contribution plans become the primary source of retirement savings, the responsibility for turning those savings into reliable income has shifted to individuals. Now, this shift is especially challenging for pre-retirees, those within 5 to 10 years of retirement who must navigate complex decisions around creating sustainable income, timing benefit claims, and managing longevity risk. Joining me is Richard Ngin, a good friend, founder of Foundation Asset in Los Angeles, California. So I guess we'll start at the beginning, Richard. When is the best time to start retirement planning or retirement income planning?
I would thank you. Excuse me, sir. Thank you for having me today.
Sure.
I would say, as soon as possible. I mean, pre-retiree, which means like if you turn 60, that's the golden age, just like you start planning. Mm-hmm. Because when you retire, it means like it takes some time, to do planning. So most of the time that people think about is like they don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. Right. So it's as soon as possible. That's what my job is, to help you, do some planning.
And I was going to say, so it's probably pretty common that when you meet with someone, and they've done a pretty good job right. of accumulating assets or saving or, but there's really never an income plan, is there? There's just sort of an asset and a bunch of statements, and they're sort of hoping the 4% rule is going to work out for them, and that probably isn't a good idea.
So you look at that as a retirement as a whole. Many advisors, they don't really focus on the income planning. They just focus, many a times they focus on wealth management, which is so new to the income planning to many advisors. So if you want to do planning, you have to work with someone like me, as I specialize in income planning. Because income planning, a lot of time people just don't think about it when it comes retirement year. Yeah. It's just an excitement year, and people just want to it. But the one thing you can come to retirement is about your income, is about your paycheck.
And it's interesting that isn't really a consideration, because that's exactly why we are retirement planning, is to make sure we don't run out of money.
Correct.
And then you have to talk about tax planning, right. Because when we start taking income, I think a lot of retirees get into retirement and think, well, I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket. That's often not the case, is it?
Exactly. A lot of times the people misconception, they always tell them, when I'm retired, I'm in the low tax bracket. Which is not the case. Probably look a lot of time right now, people looking like, hey, people think about like, when I retire, I want more money than what I'm working right now. Mm-hmm. That's the mid time. So their income is still the same or more, because you include like Social Security, some pension, all the investment they draw out, the capital gain tax is all come in one, and you probably can pay more tax and stuff like that. Right. So many times a lot of retiree people don't think about that as consideration about the tax, high tax. It's my job to help them reduce that tax so you can put more money to their, to their pockets, to the income that they can, spend on it.
Do you, when you work with clients, because I think most people, the average consumer, depending on where you're living, but is going to have to rely on Social Security for part of the income at some point, right? Unless they've got $3 to $5 million in savings. How do you determine the right time to take Social Security?
Yeah, I would say, the first and foremost, you have to look at Social Security is like a supplement income, right? It's not like an icing guarantee, but I would say the best age is, I recommend people age 70. Mm-hmm. To turn on the income. I can tell you why. Because many times, a lot of people think about when they turn on 62, they have about the average, about like 1,200. Whether they can wait age 70, they probably over like 3,000. So the percentage is about like 24% different. And another thing people don't think about it, when you turn 67, you have to wait from 67 to age 70, and they can create it like simple interest, 8% compounded to grow on that amount, so you can get more income down the road. And another thing you have to look at too, like people married, example, you have to think about if something happened to you, your spouse will get the higher amount benefit to get that benefit for the long run too. So think about in the long term, like the longest that you live, that can help you with that. And a lot of people don't think about that.
Well, we appreciate your time, and I think this is something you deal with on a daily basis, and you really understand the importance of income. Now, that's for sure. Richard Ngin in Los Angeles. This is Retirement News Online, and please check out our website, retirementnewsonline.com. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.